It is. Goodness. Good morning, Unity. Good morning, everyone joining us on Zoom. Thanks for being here today as well. I can't stand at that thing. Thank you for those of you who donned your autumn colors. And we have the whole spectrum here. Cindy and I are kind of, in early transition. We're works in progress. But then we got our masters in the back. We got Jen and Leonard and Juliet. They're rocking the brown. You're gonna see here in a little while. And I did order an orange shirt because I realized I made the request without having an orange shirt. So that was classic me. But it did not come in the mail yet. So I figured this old thrift store shirt, this is comfortable. Feels good. Well, good morning. We're talking about zeal today. And you all know what zeal is because you have it and you've had it your whole lives. But we'll get into more of that. But I wanted to start this out with a connection. Do you remember sleepovers as a kid? I'm talking like 8, 9, 10 years old. Yeah, what was magical about those? With your friends, right? So I grew up in a little tiny town in northwest Iowa, and the big thing in our town was football games in the fall, this time of year. That was my favorite time to have sleepovers. And I had several friends that had birthdays. So the parents had set that up, and we knew that going into our school week. Oh, we're staying at Kyle's house this Friday. And it just lit up our week. Everything was more enjoyable. We brought more joy and energy to our whole week because we knew that Friday, when we made it to that bell after the pep rally, we were going to be cut loose. And it was even better because I grew up out in the country, and it was better because Kyle lived in town. So it was a tiny town of 1,000 people. So it's completely safe. You know everybody. Everybody knows you. You can run amok as a child. And we did. After the pep rally, we would sprint to Kyle's house, drop our bags, and the adventure began. And it was a wonderful thing. We were unleashed on the town. There was no bad ideas. It was the ultimate high. And we would adventure and enjoy our time, enjoy the autumn sunshine and the small town, and maybe go down to the train trestle or into the woods or whatever, or meet up with the girls in our classes, whatever. It was a lot of fun. And then we'd go to the football game, and that was a high energy event. But the point being is as kids, it's easy to set down all of our responsibilities because we don't have any, right? So our parents would set all this up. All we knew we had to do was get back to Kyle's house that night. We were free, unleashed. I don't know if I've experienced that level of freedom as an adult. Maybe small moments. But so we have some masters of zeal here today with us. We got some littles in here today. Kids are so good at bringing their zeal to the table. Would you agree? What is it? How do they do it? They are present in the moment. What else? They are themselves. They're authentic. Very good. What else? They're jacked up. Yeah. Yeah. We struggle with that as adults, especially the being jacked up part. I have a cookie and I crash and I just like, my metabolism's all over the place. But these guys can eat cookies, have their high, come back down and still keep going. Like they're good. So kids are very good. If you wanna witness a master of zeal, bringing zeal to the table in every moment, look at kids. Puppies are another thing that does that. Puppies are masters of zeal. Cats, okay, we'll split the difference on cats. I don't know about cats sometimes. I love them, but so zeal is that fire. It's that fire within us. It is that flame that sparks our passion for life. It drives us into our joyful bliss of being present in the moment, no matter what we're doing. And I like to think of it as aliveness. So that's a good like synonym for that word. Charles Fillmore reminded us that we're all born with zeal. We have zeal ever present. It is not conditional. It exists whether you believe it does or not. If I drop these cards, what's going to happen? Oh boy, you're jumping the gun. What's initially going to happen when I drop these cards? They're going to fall to the ground just like everything else because gravity exists. Does it matter if you believe in gravity? No, it does not. It exists, right? Zeal is the same way. You have it in you. You have it in you when you're crying your eyes out, curled up, sad and releasing. You have zeal inside of you. It's just harder to bring up at that moment. But it's okay. That's okay. What I'm more focused about us doing is bringing it to the table in our day-to-day actions, our day-to-day things we have to do, the grind, with the people you're not particularly excited to be around, to bring your zeal to that moment. That's where the magic lives. So adults, we struggle with zeal sometimes because we let things like perspective, been there, done that. We let things like responsibilities, things like logic, things like our slower metabolisms get in the way. Maybe on Thanksgiving we let go of that. Thanksgiving's coming. But adults, what we're really good at doing through many years of contrast is microdosing zeal. We microdose zeal very well. We're able to bring it to little moments throughout our day, to the people that we're around. We don't have to bring it all the time, like the kids. Not that they bring it all the time. Luca and I were hot tubbing last night, and we got there a little late. It was like 7 o'clock. The sun was down, and we got into the hot tub, and what did you say? You said, it's so, I'm like, do you want the bubbles? What did you say? Okay. No, I just want it to be a calm lake of stillness. That's what he said. And here the universe sends 3 kids like his age and their mom and their grandmother in, and these kids are zealots. These kids are jumping into the hot tub, jumping into the pool, which was very cold, and swimming around. The one kid double dared you to jump into the pool. They were full of that aliveness. And, you know, we got through it. It was okay. They eventually went home. So how do we go from kids being full of zeal pretty much a lot of the time to masters of zeal as an accomplished adult? I would say a mature adult. Well, we got to go through some things. You know, I like to think of our 20s as being like an experimentation period where we were like mad scientists of zeal, like trying to pull together some pieces that probably don't fit, you know, and trying to make it all happen with our ideals, the visions in our heads. This is going to be awesome. Okay. I just remember a carload of zealots, the tunes cranking, driving down the road, pedal to the metal, hopped up on whatever, just going to our next adventure. And then you overindulge and contrast comes. Oh, contrast, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that. And we learn to discern. We learn to discern from our contrast. We learn to set boundaries, create boundaries within ourselves and within other people so that we can experience more zeal and experience less contrast. We also do this through aligned action. We realize what serves us and what doesn't, and we weed that out. And we choose things that bring forth our gifts so that we can be in our joy, in our zeal, in each moment of the day. And people do this at various stages of their life. God knows I know that. Like, I'm almost 40 years old and I just started chiropractic college. Am I out of my mind? Yes, most of the time. But it's okay, Did you guys read about the 100, 102, 104-year-old lady that just went skydiving? Wow, what an inspiration. We can do whatever we want whenever we want. It's our path. It's our path. Exactly. Yeah, you live that way, I know. You're not thinking about that the way that these people are thinking about that. See, um, so we go on what I like to think of as our zeal diet. we kind of settle into our personal growth period, and we realize what doesn't serve us, and we cut that away, and we start choosing people that see our potential and help us level up in vibration rather than the status quo or hold us back, things like that. So masters of zeal, what do they look like? We got the kids in the room. We have others in this room that are not kids who are masters of zeal. And maybe you don't see that in yourself, but there are. I'm not going to name any names, but you know who you are. I see you. You can't get by me. Masters of zeal. So what does a master of zeal look like? As a mature adult, what does it look like? Oh, why? Can you put it to words? Yes. There's been many moments I've been driving through Lake Tahoe and I'm just befuddled by traffic, thinking about where I have to be. And all of a sudden, I see Shiny McWaverson over here. And I'm just like, oh, she got me. And I keep going. I might give you a little honk or a wave. Yeah, you're a master of zeal for sure. What else? How would you describe someone who's up, who lifts the room when they come in, no matter what you're cleaning, you're doing something, maybe a task that you don't want to do as a collective group. What do they do? What do they bring to that table? Presence. They're out of their minds. Yeah, exactly. They're out of their minds. They've let go of their identity. They're authentic in that. What else? Joy. Yeah. You very, very rarely see a master of zeal that's not able to bring up a smile and in the moment, regardless of their day. And that's a beautiful thing. I like to think of it as, adults, we have that perspective thing where we compare and contrast what we've been through. We have the perspective thing. We have a mindset. We can have a right mindset. And we're able to be in right action. So as a mature adult, to be a master of zeal, I feel like those three things, if you can kind of wrap your head around those three things within your own being, in your day-to-day, you can be a master of zeal and inspire others around you and enjoy your life. Do you guys remember in the movie Forrest Gump? He becomes a shrimp boat captain because he promised Bubba that he would. He becomes a shrimp boat captain, doesn't know anything about shrimping. They go out shrimp boating in the Gulf, and he invites Lieutenant Dan to join him, and they tag team it. And what do they do initially? They strike out. They fail. No shrimp. And after failing, Forrest says, what are we going to do to find them? And Lieutenant Dan says, maybe you ought to pray to this God of yours. So what does Forrest do? He goes to church, and he joins the choir. It's a full-on gospel church, and he's in the back like, I'm going to plant my feet on higher ground. They're singing, I'm going to plant my feet on higher ground, and he's singing along, and he inspires Lieutenant Dan to come. Why? Because Forrest, in his own way, was a master of zeal. He very much was. Lieutenant Dan wanted to be around him for that. Lieutenant Dan didn't know that at the time, but he did. So anyways, they go back out on the shrimp boats, and all of their prayer manifests, and Hurricane Carmen comes along. And what does it do? Just wrecks everything. But they're out in it. They're out on the sea doing what they have to be doing. They're not at home sheltering in place. They're out doing what they're called to do. You're not going to catch any shrimp if you're not out doing it. So the hurricane passes, it destroys all the other shrimp boats, and somehow enlivens the waters, and they are abundant in shrimp. And they come out of it on the other side the better for it. Change their lives. They change their destiny. They become multimillionaires, whatever. You guys know the story. So what I'd like you to think about today, how much zeal are you bringing to your banquet, the banquet that is your life? Every day. How much zeal are you bringing to it? How much, Micah? 10? I bring about 10% every day too. No, it's good. That's awesome. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I believe you. So what can we do? You can surround yourself with zealots. We do, Jen and I, through our spiritual groups and learning how to become healers and learning how to do energy work, we learned how to identify chakras within ourselves, identify cords, people that are cording us, and we're cording them. It's always good to do those kind of things. And those are hard decisions to make. It's hard to step away from somebody who's comfortable to be around, but maybe isn't serving you. Maybe it isn't, maybe someone in my life is not someone I need to propel me into John 2.0, So you can surround yourself with zealots. Every day when you wake up, there's 3 things I'd like to talk about here. Every day when you wake up, you can put on your glasses. Which kind of vision are you going to have that day? Or even just before an activity that maybe, any recovering people pleasers in here? Yeah, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I say yes all the time. Well, I shouldn't. You learn that through that contrast. We learn that I got to say no, sacred no sometimes. And it's not about you, it's about me. I'm not going to be my best if I say yes to this and put myself through this energetically. I'm not going to be able to be my best for everybody. So when you wake up every day, you can put on your victor vision or your victim vision. And the same thing goes with any task, anything you have to do. Somebody at work you don't want to be around or you don't really vibe with, you don't have to be woe is me about that. Maybe something at school changes and you're attached to what you liked, what you knew, what you loved. You can step into that with a positive mindset, some perspective, and take right action and be there, be present, and contribute. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. The second thing, are you going to put on your sadness sandals or your faith footwear? Sadness sandals, I like to think of sadness sandals as like Eeyore, remember Eeyore? Just like, hey poo, like just trudging along through his life. Yeah, through the woods. Doesn't mean you can't be Eeyore once in a while. It's okay. But you can put on your faith footwear and be the best you can be and bring more to the table. Absolutely. I like you. You're coming to all my talks, okay? The last thing, and this is just kind of, there's some truth in this, but this is just kind of for laughs too. Are you going to put on your fear, your FEAR undies? Are you going to strap on your love undies? Me, I love my love undies. They got little hearts on them. They're comfortable. They're silk. They're good. I am John at my best when I have my love undies on. The world needs you. It needs your zeal. We need zeal right now, right? We need it. We are the light. We are the change we want to see in the world. You have it inside of you. Just like that God energy is inside of you. You are that. Got to bring it to the table. Because the world deserves you. You deserve it. You deserve to live in zeal. You deserve to be a zealot. We do not, yes, New Zealand. We do not serve the world by playing small. Doesn't mean you have to run around with your hair on fire, over smiling. exuberantly expressing your joy in every situation, in everybody's face, in their eye holes so they can see you. There's nothing to prove. Please don't be an a-hole to my eye holes. That was just for humor too, sorry. There are those of us out there, masters of zeal, who are introverted, who are old souls, who might take your exuberance and realize it might be better to shrink you down and evict you from the planet, away from us. Not that we would do that. You can be calm, you can be present, you can be reserved and bring your zeal to the table. Don't have to be crazy. And again, it's not about us. It's about service. Love thy neighbor. She's coming every time. Nicole, I'm sorry. I'm speaking in December and it's happening. So thank you so much for bringing your zeal. I want to give a huge shout out to Jodine for bringing her zeal to the table. Annie for bringing her zeal to the table every week, week in and week out. Juliet for overcoming. I welcome in Archangel Michael. Did you feel his presence? Yes. Okay, good. And we always love Mike. Mike in the back. He's there. Oh. Carol, thank you so much, Carol. We love you. Carol, can you stand up, Carol? Like, Carol, when someone sets a theme, you just like own a theme. I love that about you. And of course, Cindy and Cherie, our prayer chaplain. Cindy, let's receive some love for Cindy. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. It was a pleasure being here with you today. We're going to sing a song. I can do it whenever. You do your thing.
My thing. Okay. Thank you, John.